What is poppin', party pundits? We are in for another episode of Pop Talk. We are the pundits of pugilism. This is your man, Professor Nims. I'm signing on with Boston Jared,
What up?
the Casual Rand,
What up, though?
and Coach Dave. So before we jump into this, make sure that you do like and subscribe. We are trying to get those numbers up so that we can continue to bring you the most educated and erudite boxing analysis on the internet. With that said, let's talk about this past weekend where we saw possibly the making of the next star at 140 pounds, Regis Prograis, who did a nice demolition job on your man Jose Zepeda. I'll go ahead and give myself my flowers. I did call out the 11th round knockout TKO, how you call it.
But put money on that shit. This is like your third one you called.
Yeah, I'm up there. I'm up there. So with that said, I think that we all saw the kind of writing on the wall for this fight. I think that one of the reasons why I chose that is that with Prograis, he's a big bruising junior welterweight fighter, and with Zepeda, he just, when it comes to stepping up to fighters of class or whatnot, he just comes up a little bit short. And I figured that around the 10th or 11th round, I figured that he would have, had enough, and that's what it really came to. So let's start out with Coach Dave or whatnot. So give us your thoughts on stylistically what you liked about Regis Prograis in this fight against Zepeda. And with that, we can also, segue into the conversation about what is next for him in the division that looks like is going to be one of the hottest divisions in boxing, particularly in 2023.
Yeah, man. So So I enjoyed the fight. And then not only after watching it, man, I went back and just kind of did my own little highlights and stuff of the guy. I didn't really know a whole lot. I knew about Zepeda, but I just hadn't watched him, and so I honestly think I may have seen him fight maybe twice or something like that. But so I always love Prograis because he comes to fight. I think with this one particular fight, in terms of just his style and what he was doing, I think he showed, and this is my opinion, I personally think he showed a lot more versatility and not so one-dimensional, man. Like, we know the guy liked to fight, but, he was just, in a good way, kind of all over the place. I might have, as a coach, I might have still would have said, look, man, keep it a little tighter. Mm-hmm. He might have felt like he had the guy, and look, man, I got his number. This cat ain't really bringing nothing, especially when he caught him with that left hand brick. Of course, in the I think it was 11th round or whatever. But let me just say this about going into that division. So I think it would be an interesting fight, honestly, man, with him and Teofimo, just simply because I think when as much movement as he was doing. Yeah, Teofimo beat Lomo, but in that fight, at least with Lomo, I kind of felt like I don't think maybe Teofimo got the true moving and angles that a Lomo I know can give. I think Lomo I gave him too much respect. The way Prograis was moving and them angles and where this Joker was coming from, it might not be as easy fight for Teofimo as people might think. It just was awkward and effective and busy and aggressive busyness that I saw Prograis bring in terms of just style. So the only thing, honestly, man, I would have criticized him on a little bit was just keep them hands up a little tighter, maybe not bending so much over at the waist. But he was busy, man, and them hands, those punches, dude, I think was just coming from somewhere. And that consistent, aggressive pressure, man, was just overwhelming for that guy, man. And I think that style of fighting, to be honest with you, dude, I think it would frustrate the hell out of Teofimo. I think it would frustrate
you would like to see
hell.
that next for him. I mean, I think that's a beautiful, lovely fight. So with that said, the casual ran. So one thing I do want you to talk about the fight, but I also want you to kind of talk about a subject that you do love. And as you may know, there was a Twitter tweet this morning from Regis who said that his purse check bounced. So right. So
not dealing with like reputable promoters, but like Boston Jared said, he has Schaefer, and fortunately it is working itself out. But to go back to the Teofimo program fight, I don't think that Teo would be the favorite going into that fight. I think Prograis will be the favorite, and he, as he should, he is the bigger, stronger guy at 140. I think the people that give Prograis problems will be the additional big, strong guys like the Josh Taylors, like people that weigh in at fight night at 150 plus, over the 140 pound level. I don't think anybody small is going to give Prograis the problems. My issue is Teofimo can outbox. I believe Teofimo can outbox Prograis. He's not going to outbrawl him, but he'll outbox him. So if that fight were ever coming to fruition, and I had an argument with somebody on Facebook about it. I'm thinking a focused Teofimo of the one that came in that fought Loma, that has his head on straight and comes to box, I think will give Prograis problems. But if he wants to brawl and fight with a bigger, stronger brawler, Teofimo will probably get knocked out for that fight.
Let me ask you this then, Randy. And I mean, so I'm feeling you on that, but I don't know, bro. So I still think that Lomo came into that fight kind of hesitant with Teofimo. If Lomo was boxing and moving and busy, instead of trying to be strategic in that fight, really giving them angles, do you think that would have frustrated Teofimo? Because the Prograis,
I think it would have, and I think he tried to bring that on in the later rounds, but by the time he started it was too late. But I honestly think a focus. I think Teofimo has the attributes to be a champion. Whatever weight class he's in, he can box. He has enough power at 140. If he just focuses himself, I think he can beat a Prograis.
I would agree. Like he kind of has that the thing that you really can't teach, right? He has whether it's that kind of quick twitch or even that kind of one punch power that might not get you out there, but it'll definitely get your attention. So just one note, I want to say, because I'm not taking up for Richard Schaefer, but this fight went to a purse bid.
Yes.
And the purse bid was won by Marv Nation. And the CEO of Marv Nation is one Marvin Rodriguez. So let's, we don't want to kind of throw people under the bus who might not necessarily want to be under. But with that said, Boston Jared, were you impressed with you?
I was
seen from Prograis, would you put him at the top of the 140 weight division?
No, only because I haven't seen what Josh Taylor has got left in the tank at this weight yet. So I don't want to put him at the top of the division. But look, I'm biased when it comes to Regis. I've always been a big Regis Prograis fan. No, not yet. Now, if the same Josh Taylor that shows up to fight,
if
the same Josh Taylor shows up in this next Catterall fight that showed up in that last Catterall fight, then yeah, I'm going to put Regis at the top. And interestingly enough, Regis, I believe, was asked about a Josh Taylor rematch, maybe in the post-fight. And Regis remarked very specifically on that last Catterall fight. And Regis said something to the effect of, Josh Taylor hasn't gotten better since our fight, and he thinks that he can actually stop Josh Taylor now, which sounds good, but we got to see. So no, I wouldn't put him up there. I think he is solidly the number 2 guy in the division, if not a 1A and 1B. Both he and Josh Taylor being 1A and Prograis being 1B.
Would you so who would you favor in the fight against Teofimo Lopez at 140?
Prograis. I think Regis is just stylistically all wrong for Teofimo. And Teofimo has never ever been in there with a guy that can match his foot speed and his athleticism. And you saw how. Oh yeah, again, y'all got to go back, and for our viewers, go back and watch some of Prograis' fight. Prograis is like the guy he comes from like the Shaolin Temple of boxing. This guy can come out and fight you with the tiger crane technique. He can use the praying mantis. He can use the snake style. This guy can fight any style of boxing he needs to fight, and he can do it well. He's not some brawler or bruiser. He can outbox Teofimo. He can outbrawl Teofimo. And when Teofimo feels his power, he's gonna be a little gun shy, I think. I picked Prograis in that fight. A good fight. And they're gonna be no easy fight for Prograis, but I think Prograis wins. I think Prograis separates himself from Teofimo in that fight.
So I do want to say this is an hour ago, and it says that Regis is set to receive full $1.2 million payment from the fight check that did bounce. So it does.
This thing how your gut feel if you go to the bank and put in a $1.2 million check, and then 2 days later it say that shit bounced.
Why? Who are these old motherfuckers? Who are still out here writing checks?
Apparently, people with $1.2 million.
Man, you better send them
a wire
transfer.
Okay, I'm about to say now. I mean, that's better because Broner likes to receive it in cash. So he can.
He wants it in a brown paper bag, right?
Yeah. So, boss, we're going to stay with you because something that was a little bit outside of the ring, but it is, fodder for conversation. And that is, we saw I'm not going to say inebriated, but somebody that was kind of feeling himself and feeling good. We saw he was inebriated. Charlo.
Whenever we see Charlo in front of, if there's cameras recording, if there are microphones, and he's talking, this nigga's on fucking, he's on lean. He's on Hennessy.
Allegedly.
He's on something.
Allegedly.
Yes.
I think that's just his personality. I don't think it's.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far. But
I will.
With that said, I'll say with Randy, I wouldn't say that's just his personality. But what I would say is that he called out Dimitri Bivol, came up to him and said, "I want to fight you. Do you want to fight me?" And Bivol was kind of, he understands English and takes it in.
I don't think Bivol recognized him at first.
Yeah, and he was trying to.
I thought Bivol thought he was some.
You could see, and that's why you could kind of see his brain kind of working. He was kind of going through the motions, okay, what's going on here right now?
Who is this crazy black man?
Yeah, and then so he, he didn't turn down the fight, but he essentially said, yeah, let's, and then he said what weight class. So that's why I think that he. Maybe at first he didn't, but at one point he recognized who it was, and he was just like, okay, it's one of the, these loud talking Charlo brothers. Then he was just
one of these drunk ass Charlos.
Yeah, then he was like, well, what weight class? And then Charlo suggested 168. And then from there he was like, well, you have belts there? Because he's like, me, I want to be unified, but if I'm not going to be unified, I'm chasing hardware. So do you think this is something, a little bit of nothing, or should we just
this is all, it's more bullshit. This is all nothing. This is just a guy who has been inactive for close to 2 years, who most of his fan base has forgotten about. Whatever little fan base he had, they've forgotten about him. He's a guy that's become very, very close to being irrelevant, an irrelevant title holder. in the sport. He was given some kind of exception by the WBC. I don't know why. According to Mauricio Suleiman, he was injured. He didn't look injured to me walking around. He still could be. But now this is more the same bullshit from Jamal Charlo, not to be mistaken with his undisputed twin brother, Jamel Charlo. More the same shit. I mean, why are you sitting there trying to make a fight with a guy who is signed to DAZN, who fights 2 weight classes above yours? Well, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. The other thing is, why are you trying to pick a fight with a guy who you want to come down to 168 when you could have been made a fight with David Benavidez at 168? That fight could have been made a year and a half ago. But you were so adamant about being a 160-pound fighter. It's just more nonsense. And as entertaining as it is for about 5 minutes after the video drops, it quickly turns from, haha, look at Jamal Charlo, to like, yo, I wish this guy would just shut the fuck up and go away. Like, honestly, if you're not going to get in the ring and fight, vacate and go. If you got outside the ring shit that's going on, like drop the belt, go handle whatever you got to handle outside the ring, get right, and then come back and fight people. Like, don't sit here and try to clout chase, right? Because that's what that is. You clout chasing a guy who is at the top of his game right now, and you are not even in the game, essentially. So
yeah, and just for record, he's never fought above 160 pounds, and I don't, why would you kind of test yourself out against somebody who is, I think, going to enter into the top pound for pound boxing realm. But so, Coach, what do you think about Jamal Charlo's call out? Do you think that this was a good look, or just more of what we've kind of known from the Charlos, who can kind of make a lot of noise and make a lot of scene outside of the ring, but haven't done too much inside of it lately?
Well, man, I think Jared hit it on the head, man. I mean, I guess the only amplifying remarks that I would have in that to kind of go along with what Jared said, man, is, if you're trying to reestablish some relevance, honestly, which I think he needs to do, beyond name recognition is what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
To what Jared said, get in there and fight. I mean, who is in that division still that he can link up with and still show, I still have the skills, I'm still relevant in my current division, instead of trying to reach across the ocean in terms of weight classes and try to get your relevance. I think Jared hit it on the head in terms of clout chasing.
So I was looking at the height. He's actually taller than Bivol. He's at 6'1". Bivol is even 6 feet. And if you looked at him, Charlo probably was even a little bit bigger. Do you think that he can still safely make the middleweight division, the middleweight weight limit, I should say?
It might be tough for him, man. I mean, I know Jared really be watching that stuff a lot, man. But I think it might be tough for him, man. And I don't have his box rec up in front of me, man. But has he fought guys like? Did he fight Munguia yet?
No. Remember they tried to make that fight, Dave, and in Charlo's defense, it seemed like Oscar De La Hoya and the Golden Boy folks wanted broadcast rights. So no. Short answer to your question, Dave, is no. They tried to make that fight happen, and the Munguia Charlo fight fell through. And then
who was the cat from Brazil, man?
There's a guy, Patrick. I'm talking about Tesh. Esquiva Falsao.
Hold on. Is that who it is?
There's a guy at 160 pounds named Esquiva Falsao.
Okay,
who's a top-ranked fighter.
So I get, right, man. I don't know who he belonged to, and I'm just thinking through the stuff, man. And so that's Adames
is the fight to make. That's the guy who went to the WBC, who petitioned to become the mandatory, and Mauricio
that's the fight. I mean, that's the fight he ain't gonna be able to shake, because that dude is on his ass like a pit.
Then that shows the relevance of my point. Then my point of it is, which supports your point, bro, is to hell with this clout chasing. Who can you fight in your division that you can make that fight can be easily made, that you can reestablish your relevance beyond a historical name and what you've done? That's my thing, if that makes sense, man.
So, but at the same point, not to be a apologist, I don't think that Adames fight answers that call, answers that bell. You know, Gennady Golovkin isn't going to fight him. And now it's looking like Janibek might not want to fight him either, but he's still trying to save face. So what if you're Charlo? What do you do? So he called him out. He called somebody out. Like, so Canelo already said that he's not fighting. He's not going to ask for a Bivol fight until late 2023. If Charlo thinks that he can slide into that May time frame, then so be it. If he's bold enough to jump up to 168 and fight him then so be it.
I tell you what would be an interesting fight card to make. You've got Jamel getting ready to fight Tim Tszyu. What if you paired him with Jamal and had Jamal fight this guy, Michael Zarafa? Zarafa, who's the number 2 guy in the IBF, who is also an Australian. Maybe you put the fight in Australia.
We might. So this, right. Remember when this was a couple of weeks, on the 9th of November. So maybe about 3 weeks ago when the WBC put out their mandatories, they currently had Jamal Charlo sidelined due to injury. They said once he is fit, his mandatory the interim title is Adames. So he needs to just, first of all, he needs to get off of get out the sideline at this point and declare that he's.
He said he's going to be back in February. So
that's a bad fight. He don't want to run in there with Adames off of a 2-year layoff. That's the wrong guy to run into there off of a layoff. Adames will fuck him up.
You think so?
Adames is all kinds of awkward. He's a southpaw, and as our friends of the show, Willie Monroe, confirmed, and what I've been saying for a long time now, is that Jamal Charlo struggles with southpaws. And Adames is a switch hitter, but I believe he starts fights in the southpaw position. He's got power. He's awkward. That ain't the guy you want coming off a layoff. He needs a tune-up. And we will probably see him in there against Maciej Solecki in February, the fight that they tried to make in the summer, I believe, and they canceled the fight because of this phantom injury that Jamal Charlo had, although he was seen in the club shortly after the fight was canceled, but whatever, that's the fight we will most likely get. Maciej Solecki is a PBC guy, represented by Aegis Klimas, but has always fought PBC, I believe. Well, not always. But that's the fight they tried to make in the summer. That's the fight we're probably going to see. It's probably going to see Maciej Solecki.
All right. So let's kind of keep it moving. We're going to drop down a few weight divisions and jump into the lightweight division, or maybe just above it. I'm not sure where these guys are fighting at. But boy Tank Davis, who is set to fight on, is it January the 7th? That's correct. Against Hector Ramirez. He doesn't seem to have his mind so much set on that fight because he is looking to call out everybody else. For one, he already has an agreement to fight
Garcia.
Yeah, Garcia on April the 15th. And then from there, if he is successful in that, he presumably wants to fight Haney, who he has called out. And he is bringing up some old sparring match things that are really supposed to stay in the gym. I will say that. But apparently he claimed to have knocked Haney out of the ring, and says that Mayweather has the footage. I don't think Mayweather is going to be doing anything in the support of Tank at this moment. But so, Coach, let's go back to you. With that said, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that things that happen in the gym, sparring session and stuff, that do you think that should stay in the gym, or if it's, or do you think it's good for boxing if it helps kind of garner interest in a fight?
Well, it's gonna always be good for boxing, man, in terms of just building the fight hype, and if footage leaks out, then it's just gonna always help to make the fight. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is, man. The politics and the antics, of boxing. I personally, come from the side of you keep it tight, and what's in the gym is in the gym. You know what I'm saying? And with that said, though, let me say, it doesn't matter what happened when you fought somebody in the amateurs. It doesn't matter what happened when you sparred somebody. What matters is fight night and who brings that thumb. So I don't even get caught up all in it, man. What I will say is good about this division right now. And y'all know when we first started the show, I said that even back when they was at 130, and as they kind of, some of them move up, whoever you match up with those top names, I said you that's just a powerful division. What I am glad about, and at least with Tank, is at least with the rhetoric and the noise talking, they're starting to absolutely call each other out. And they're starting to back themselves into a corner, because one saying this and one saying that. And I just think that we are on the cusp of having some serious fights, whether they are tournaments or not. But I think pairing up of these key people at that division, I think is on the cusp of happening, because they all are starting to really talk some stuff. And if this Garcia and Tank fight goes off, if it absolutely happens, it will set that precedent, man, for, I'm talking about bringing in Eric Shakur, Lomo still out there. You just might see some serious super fights happening, man, going towards that end of 2023. It could happen. It could solidly happen, man.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw it to Boston Jerry, but I want to change it up a little bit. I'm gonna stay at this weight division because there's some more news kind of around this. So apparently, Haney, who I'm not saying he's avoiding this talk with Tank Davis, but he apparently has his eye on Teofimo Lopez at 140 pounds. So it says that his father went looking for Teofimo Sr. at some liquor store in Las Vegas that he frequents. And then Haney had a tweet on the yesterday. He says that ain't no match yet. Might just come to 140 and F you up. Well, I can say fuck you up. But this was in response to a tweet by Teofimo Lopez, where he said, at the real Devin Haney, focus on your upcoming match with Vasily Lomachenko, young blood. I got work to do here at 140 division. I pray you enjoyed your 5 minutes of fame. So is that something that you are interested in seeing, a Teofimo Lopez Devin Haney fight?
Absolutely. I'm all for that. And unlike the Tank back and forth, the Teofimo and Devin Haney fight is a fight that can actually happen. It actually is a strong possibility of actually happening. So yes, I'm all for that.
Who would you favor in that fight right now?
Between Haney and Teofimo, that's an interesting matchup of styles. The count, man,
I'm going with Haney.
Yeah, man.
We'll go with Teofimo.
Yeah, it's tough.
I'm gonna go with Teo. I'm gonna go with Teo.
Teofimo by night.
I'm gonna pick Haney, but I'm not gonna marry myself to that Haney pick. I'm gonna pick Haney, but I'm not gonna commit solidly to that. I need to see how Haney looks at 140 pounds. I've always been concerned about Haney's power. I want to see what he can do at 140 against some reputable opposition before I make that prediction. We'll see. I'm going to go with Haney for right now. I believe that Haney's length, his hand speed, his foot speed will be enough to maybe frustrate. He can jab and grab his way to a win against Teofimo, but we got to see. I'm not going to marry myself to that prediction.
So do you think Haney's gonna like slow roll his move to 140? I mean, take like lesser fights, or he's
no
to the fire at 140?
He's gonna go right as the undisputed champ. He can really go right up and challenge the WBO belt holder. And if we look,
that's what I'm saying. So you just said that you want to see him and see how his power is at 140. I don't think he has the time to show you what his power. I think the fight, when you see him at 140, it's going to be against a dog, and I don't think he's going to build up to a championship level fight. I think he jumps right into a championship level fight. So if he ain't got the power at 140 coming in,
but how? I mean, who right now? I mean, the belts are occupied by Regis.
Alberto Puello, who's the WBA champ, who's over there. He's the guy that's over there on
and then
PBC.
and then Josh Taylor has still 2 fights. I mean, they
won.
Taylor has that WBO, and Teofimo is the number 1 guy in the WBO for Josh Taylor's belts. You've got Ponce and Sabril Matisse, who are the 1 and 2 guys in the IBF. So Taylor vacates, and after this Catterall fight, if he wins or if he loses and moves up, I still think we see Devin Haney jump in there against a guy like Pedraza. I think maybe an Arnold Barboza, maybe a Richard Comey. I think he tests the waters against that level of guy before he jumps in there with Teofimo.
I absolutely
agree. Richard Como would be a good. That would be good for Haney. That would be
a Comey fight.
Honestly, that would be perfect. That would be perfect.
It would be good. I mean, Comey has some he has some heavy feet, whatnot in some very heavy feet. So I could see Haney boxing circles around him. I wonder if that fight will get him prepared for the size and physicality of the division. I just don't think it will prepare him for the kind of quickness of a Teofimo Lopez, or even I don't think he's going anywhere near Prograis at this point.
Yeah.
Hey, how many fights does if somebody got a boxer, how many fights does that Russell kid have, man?
Oh, the 140-pound Antoine Russell?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but he's over on the other side of the street, Dave. He's over there on PBC. So I doubt you see that fight happen. After Devin Haney fights Lomachenko, I believe his contractual obligations are up, and I think that he re-signs with Top Rank. There's a lot of good work for him over there, and
I think so.
I'm gonna look and see what's up with Gary Russell's record, but
I haven't. He's 16-0 with 16 KOs.
Yeah.
So
we ain't gonna see that. I'm sure Gary Antoine Russell would jump at that fight, but the politics of boxing, I think are gonna prevent that. But then again, we'll see. I mean, we saw Gary Russell get in there against Lomachenko all those years ago, and that was Top Rank in PBC. So
I wonder if there's some guys across the waters he might can get in there with at that, if there's anybody.
I mean, you got Sandor Martin, but Sandor Martin getting ready to fight Teofimo.
Yeah,
so I don't know if he's going to run right in there against Devin Haney. Maybe if he wins.
I just think that's what I'm saying, man. I just think I would hope that it'd be more about a being in there with that size of fighter more than anything else. First.
Yeah, just to kind of get used to the size and physicality of them.
And that's the coaching me talking right there. You know what I'm saying?
So the casual one, let me throw. So we've really kind of talked about, you know, 3 fighters here. We've talked about Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, and Tank Davis, who are not. So what kind of permutation of those 3 like would you like to see? Because I don't think we're gonna get our wish just because of the boxing politics. But if you had your druthers, like which 2 of those fighters would you like to see in the ring in 2023?
I would anybody against Tank. I think Tank is on his own. Like, he dropped Mayweather and he's on his own tear. He wants to prove that he is the shit, and it seemed to me he's like trying to show that he hasn't fought the best as of yet because of Mayweather promotion. And now he's coming out saying, like, man, I'm the best at either from 130 to 140, it seemed like he's trying to say. And at 135, I think he's putting his flag down and saying, man, whoever wants to step up and get knocked the fuck out. So to answer your question, anybody against Tank. And I think Tank is going to be favored against anybody. Even like people like hyping up Shakur. I think Shakur is a great fighter, but I don't know if he got the power to phase Tank or like stop Tank from walking his ass down and putting that thigh on him. Haney.
You said who?
Shakur.
Oh, Shakur. Okay, yeah.
And Haney, the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Great fighter, great boxer. But I don't know if he got the power to stop Tank from just walking his ass down and putting the thigh on him. So
what about Prograis?
Prograis at 140, I think that might be a bridge too far because Prograis is a power strong brawler, which
Not a brawler.
You keep calling him a brawler, Ray.
Hey,
I don't like his boxing style, so I'm calling him a brawler.
I would say I don't necessarily like his boxing style either. I think that he could be lured into this kind of just back and forth fight where he doesn't need to kind of take that punishment. But I think he's far from a brawler. I think that's.
I think when Zepeda started boxing his ass late in the rounds, I think he was touching him. So I think he's more closer. If this is the spectrum, and this is the brawler, and this is the boxer, I think he falls closer to the brawler side than the boxer side.
I would encourage you to go back and watch some more of Regis Prograis fights.
I watched them, and I think he's just a strong dude. And then, I think Josh Taylor beat his ass because he ran into another strong dude.
Hey,
I want to say beat his ass. I mean, it was a split decision.
He lost. He caught a L. I mean,
he did lose. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
He did lose.
There was a majority decision.
Majority decision. Yeah, it's majority. So it was a draw, and then two judges had it for Josh Taylor. So it seemed like you've been drinking the tank juice that Coach didn't slipped you or whatnot. So you are all in the tank corner. So
tank, I mean, so nobody can hear or have ever disputed that this dude hit hard as shit.
And he can box, man.
And he's showing you he can box. So the other dudes can box, but they're pillow fisted.
Power suspect.
I always go to a boxer that can punch versus a boxer that just can box.
Yeah, I think that Teofimo Lopez has showed that he could box.
Teo's at 140. We're talking about 135 though, right?
No, I was talking. Well, no. These fights that we're talking about, like the 3 fights that we talked about,
it'd be at 135.
That's all 135.
These are all 140. What are you talking about?
135.
No.
I gave you 3 fighters. I said Teofimo Lopez. I said Devin Haney, and I said Tank. I said this to me in my mind. Those are all fights.
So Tank and Devin Haney will be at 135.
I don't think
Haney
so.
and Teofimo will be at 140.
He's making Ryan Garcia come down to 136. Why would he go up there and fight
Exactly.
Teofimo at 140 or fight them other dudes? He won't even fight Ryan Garcia at 140.
I mean,
Well, he knows if he's calling out Devin Haney is no longer at that weight division.
Answer this, Cameron. Even with David Haney being unified, if them two was to fight, who would be the A side
between Devin and Tank?
And Tank.
Yeah, it'd be Tank.
So why would Tank go up to 140 to fight Haney when he know he can just handle him at 135?
Because I mean, if you're gonna go out and call out a fighter and you're gonna do that, I think that if you really want that fight, you want to prove that to him. I don't see any way that Devin Haney is going to be. This fight is not going to be until maybe summer, late 2023. There's no way that
I was going to say summer 2024 or 2026.
But there's no way.
But I mean, at the same time, man, there's physical limitations to what y'all asking. I mean, Tank has went up to 140 to fight, but damn, the dude only 5'1", man. Come on, man.
You said 5. He's
5'5", and he's 5'5" and a half. And let
him live at 135, man, and dominate there.
Well, I mean, he is somebody that's missed weight before. So I don't know how much longer he's gonna be at this weight division. So I mean we'll see.
I think he can dominate at 135. 140 he can.
So his last fight against Rolly Romero, he was at 133 pounds and 3/4. So he easily made that weight. And before that, he fought Cruz at 134 and a half. And then but he's been so I would digress. I think that he may stay at 135 pounds for a little bit longer. But if he's looking to get in the ring with Devin Haney or Teofimo Lopez, I think those would have to be at 140.
I think he'll shout out to Haney within the next year, and it's up to Haney to come down to 135 or just say he's not willing to fight.
This is going to be Devin. When Devin Haney fights Lomachenko, and I suspect that he beats Lomachenko here coming up, I think that's his last fight at 135 pounds. He goes up to 140, and I don't think you ever see him go back to he's not going back down there for Tank. That just doesn't make any sense.
So he could probably,
not after being undisputed at 135.
He could do a Garcia fight and do a catch weight.
He ain't going down to fight. He ain't going down there to fight Tank. I don't see that happen.
All right, so let's move on to the big fellas, because we saw a fight this weekend between where we saw Dillian White in the ring against Jermaine. What was his last name? Anderson. Let me make sure I get his name right, because he actually showed Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin. So he actually had a good showing of himself. He's not the body beautiful that we would like to see with some of our heavyweights. I think neither one of them is. And then outside of Anthony Joshua and probably Deontay Wilder, these are some dad bods on display. But with that said, I thought that Jermaine got the short end of the stick for this decision. Dillian White looked done to me. I said it throughout I was kind of tweeting the pundits throughout the night. His punches did not have the snap on them. He had a jab that he was kind of flicking out there. It wasn't necessarily a punishing jab, but his left hook was just gone. His left hook to the body would show up sometimes or whatnot, but it was, his nickname is actually the Body Snatcher. But it wasn't, and you would think with somebody with the kind of soft shell of a body that Jermaine Franklin has, that he would kind of work overtime to do this. And he was working for the first time with Buddy McGirt. But this fight was essentially to put him in position to challenge either Anthony Joshua or I think a bit of a pipe dream was a Tyson Fury fight. But do you see after this display of whatever he gave into the ring this past weekend, do you see Dillian White fighting Anthony Joshua next? And do you think that's a good fight for Anthony Joshua? Let's go with you, Boston Jared.
I didn't watch the fight, so you're gonna have to skip over me on this one. I did not have a chance to watch that fight.
I mean, well,
I watched the highlights, man, and in the heavyweight division, man, it's especially for like UK boxers, it's like set yourself up to look good to fight the champion, and then even in a loss, you're still set for the rest of your career. So Dillian White, I mean, with this win, if he set up to fight Joshua at the 0-2, sell out the 0-2, even if he get knocked out, he's set. I don't think he's fighting for or setting himself up to be a heavyweight champion. I think he set himself up to be a paid punching bag.
Yeah, and that's exactly the fight you'll probably see next. You'll probably see Anthony Joshua, especially given that Fury is fighting Chisora for a third time. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. So Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury gave Anthony Joshua the perfect excuse to go in there and fight Dillian White for what, the second time or the third time?
Second time.
Even better. Second time against Dillian White. Yeah, go ahead. Run the shit back against Dillian White, man.
Who will win between Chisora and White?
They already fought.
Who won?
Yeah, Dillian White won. Didn't White stop him?
He slept him, but it was a close fight up until that point. And I think that's the reason why Derek Chisora is able to endear himself to the British fans and stuff, is that he gives a good account of himself up until the fight. Even if he does come in he's just limited right now. He's not a concussive puncher. Might have some stamina questions. His technique is not something that you would teach any young fighter, but he has plenty of heart, and he's gonna if he's still standing on 2 feet or whatnot, he's gonna give us all. I'll go back to you, Jerry. I mean, do you? I know you didn't see the fight, but do you like this as a fight for Anthony Joshua in trying to recoup some of the cachet that he's lost over this last year?
I do like this fight. I know I have been championing the Zhili Zhang fight in China, but I think that, having thought about that a little bit more and having seen what's kind of gone on outside the ring with China, I think dealing with the Chinese government is just a little bit too much, a little bit more ass pain than Eddie Hearn and the folks at the Zone are willing to deal with. And I think that the Dillian White fight is makes too much sense, and it's way, way easier to make. And I think it's as dangerous, if not less so, for Anthony Joshua. So yeah, this is the perfect fight to make. This is the perfect get back, get right fight, confidence building fight. A guy you've already knocked out. You should have all the confidence in the world that you can go in there and beat this guy up again. There's nothing that Dillian White has done over the last several fights that Anthony Joshua and his team should be losing sleep over.
All right. So, Coach, if AJ was your fighter, he's lost 2 fights in a row. He's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. He's been stopped, one time within there. Do you like this fight against a Dillian White who probably had seen better days? Do you like this as a good fight for Joshua to get his confidence back?
Yes. And be honest with you, man, for me, if Joshua was my fighter, it would definitely be for the confidence, but like right now, I told you guys, after a certain amount of time, man, and really from the jump, these fighters can be either fighting for legacy or loot. You know what I'm saying? And right now, Dylan White just loot, man. Just don't get the money you can get and get on up out of there, right? Joshua, he at that crossroads. I think he can. I think this fight with White would be, both. Go ahead on get some money, and then try to establish your foundation for some legacy, and hope you can get whoever you can get. Fury, Usyk, or what I'm saying, or Wilder. That's his legacy, or get on up out of there, man. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even try to do two. I wouldn't try to do White and then go over there to China, unless you're just going straight for loot. Because that big boy over in China, that might be a 60-40 fight, man. You know what I'm saying? It might not be as easy for where he's at. But I like the fight with White, establish that confidence, and then have something to talk about that where you might could just on name alone try to slide into something where you go towards your legacy. But his boxing whole his legacy it is around Fury, Wilder, Usyk. That's it, man. And I don't mean to take away from nobody, but you gotta get one of those in before you go, or you just
you're speaking of AJ at this point.
You know what I'm saying? You're just an average heavyweight, man. You're just an average heavyweight. Seriously. That's my take on it.
All right. So speaking of legacy, we have a fight this weekend who some think is the best heavyweight of this current generation, which is Tyson Fury. He is going to be in the ring against for the third time, the trilogy that nobody was blowing the trumpets for, against Derek Chisora. And I've been, I think, a little more critical of this fight than most of the pundits. I think part of the reason why is that I think that, there's that song that, everybody plays the fool. And I think that as boxing fans that we kind of get lured into playing the fool sometime. And I do, I think that this is kind of okay. They're saying that this is okay because, he wants Usyk and we really can't have that fight. But I think the whole kind of news around and debacle that happened with Anthony Joshua, I think that was a kind of a purposeful fallout to have us to say that, well, I tried to make this fight, but that fight didn't happen. So I had to kind of do this fight. And nobody's really giving him the criticism that say that a Terrence Crawford would get because this fight is around the time that he was supposed to fight Anthony Joshua. Right. So obviously there was some negotiation of there was a plan B that they necessarily had, but they also wanted to be able to, provide this narrative to the public that, hey, I really wanted to make this fight. So I'm going to take, but I couldn't. It's not my fault. So I'm going to take this fight against somebody who I beat handily twice, who is, I'm not sure if he's in the top 10 of most boxing thing. And I mean, if you try to give your friend a payday and a beating to go along with it, I mean, hey, more power to you. But the fight, rightfully so, has had no traction, across the U.S. markets. But apparently they've sold 70,000 tickets in the U.K. And Tyson Fury, is the attraction. So I think that he has established himself where if he fights, people are going to come and watch it, particularly over there in the UK. But let's start with you, the casual Ram, because you've been somebody who's been a little bit supportive of this fight. Are you excited about this fight this coming weekend?
I'm not excited, but I disagree with your narrative. With your comparison. So the difference, like we've sat and talked about this ad nauseum of if Joshua should take this fight. So I mean, you made like your narrative was like, yeah, they offered it to him and then but charged the charge. But we talked ad nauseum. Joshua should not take this Fury fight because it will end his career once he loses. So I want to go at that angle. Like, all right, so Fury offered it to Joshua. Joshua, we all agreed that he shouldn't take that Fury fight after a loss. So what else? What he's supposed to do? He asked for the Usyk fight, but Usyk pulled out with a hand. Well, was it a hand injury at the time? He said, look, he was like, it won't be until next year because I have a hand injury. But at Tyson Fury, pound for pound in the heavyweight division is the number one. I'm like, hey, if he wants to just fucking give Chisora a handout, I think he's in a good position to do so. And this was rightfully his time to do so. He's not asking the U.S. audience to pay $70 like the Wilder fight. This is free for us. And and we always said, the British boxing population, they come out and show out for their fighters. So I think this is just more of a showcase fight for Fury, and I think he deserved at this time, the time period, the space and time, he deserved the right to have a showcase fight.
All right, Boston Jared, do you agree with that sentiment?
What, that he deserves a showcase fight?
Yeah, and that
I wouldn't say that he
couldn't get anybody else in the ring. Apparently,
yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's all this is. This is a kind of a glorified stay busy fight. I don't like to say who deserves or doesn't deserve what when it comes to the sport. I think it should be merit based. I mean, he fought a mandatory. Well, look, actually, let me walk that back. The Dillian White fight that he fought last was a voluntary, correct? That was a WBC mandatory, right? For Dillian White, who had been the mandatory for 1,897 days and whatever. Yeah. So I stand corrected. Randy's right. You do your mandatory, you are entitled to voluntary. So he did his mandatory against Dillian White. He is entitled to his voluntary. So I take that back. Randy is 100% correct. He does deserve
to fight somebody that's not in the top 10 of any sanctioning body.
Well, that's on the British board of the BBBFC, whatever the fuck they are. That is on them to sanction the fight. If they say that, hey, Chisora is 50 years old, he's been in act, whatever, he hasn't won a fight, they don't want to sanction the fight. That's on them. If it's sanctioned and everyone puts the money up, then that's not on Tyson Fury. That's not his fault.
You remember when he first announced it, Top Rank was like, hell no. But then
who announced what?
When Fury originally said he wanted to fight Chisora,
and he said that before Anthony Joshua was even.
Yeah, Top Rank was like, hell no. And then when
I don't remember that. There was an article or
when
something.
Everything played out, and then you see his hat.
Yeah, Top Rank was just like, no, he's not going to fight him. You know, they were looking for.
But my thing is,
like Bob Arum did.
If you follow Fury, and I honestly believe he has 3 fights max left in his career, and then he's going to hang it up. He's already been threatening to retire. If you already in that mindset, you're not going to do a mandatory against a up and coming threatening fighter. You're going to save those 3 fights for Anthony Joshua, a Wilder. He even said he will fight Wilder again.
Who said that?
Fury. He came out recently. He was like, "Man, I will end you." He's like, "If it's a 4, he will end him."
That's not like a serious kind of talk towards a fight. I don't think.
I think, but it is.
I think it's accurate. I think it's accurate talk though.
But you know what I'm saying? It is because if Wilder and Ruiz fight and Wilder beats Ruiz, then he is the mandatory for the WBC. So it's in the realm of possibility that it might be a Fury Wilder 4. And I say that as one of the 3 fights that Fury has left in his career. So I say that this fight with Chisora, let him have it, man. Let him have it. He deserved it.
Fight that nobody wants. All right. So, Coach, what are your thoughts? you think that he's done so much at this time, which I don't necessarily think he's done that much in the sport. Y'all act like he's been fighting killers, all that. But he's done so much that he gets to fight somebody who's out of the top 10 in any sanctioning body, who he's already beat twice. He stopped last time. And do you like this fight?
So, for Fury, yes. Yes, I like the fight. All right. So here's my deal. All right. So I think Randy was right. Fought the mandatory. Jared backed him up, doesn't get him voluntary. Right. Bam. That's number one. I think, you can't sit here and say how well we want, and how much we're okay with doggone, Joshua, fighting White, and we all cool with that. But yet, because to me, that's the same thing. In the same way, Fury gonna walk through Chisora,
Joshua's coming off 2 back-to-back losses, and
but it's
Fury's undefeated, and is fighting a guy who's lost 3 of his last 4 fights.
But the opponent, both of them whooped their ass, the opponents, and then also we can't sit here and say how we might want to a seasoned fighter to give an up and coming person a fight. The politics of boxing, man, and not only the politics of boxing, but the preservation of boxing. Fury is fighting for legacy. He's fighting for
nothing for his legacy. We can
say what?
I saying this does nothing for his legacy. No.
So fight preservation, the politics and the preservation of he need fight this thing. So one fight can take so much out of you, man. So sometimes with this, ain't always just thinking about with the fist, because we ain't the ones in that ring. This man is trying to save his doggone what he got to get his, and you gotta respect that. So we can't just and it's going back to that holistic of boxing, man. You got to see where this man is at in his career and what he's going for, and respect it. And Randy hit it on the head too. He ain't got that many more, man. He really don't. He really don't. But he needs to get up out of here with that title undisputed, in the same way that I'm saying, so strong about what Joshua has to do for his legacy. Dude, the man is going for legacy. That's it. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to cement his, while Joshua is really trying to develop and solidify his.
All right, so Coach, we're going to stay with you. Let's go with the pundit picks. Give us your pick on the Tyson Fury Derek Chisora fight. I'll pull up the odds. I don't think we necessarily need to like give them, but who do you see winning? How do you see them winning? And what round, if you think, is by knockout?
Fury is going to stop this dude. Fury is going to stop this dude. I think you're going to see a focused. I think you're going to see an extremely focused Tyson Fury that is saying, I got to get this guy out of here quick, because the less time I'm in that ring, the more I'm going to have reserved to get this daggone undisputed from Usyk and possibly even defend it one time, then I'm out of there. You know what I'm saying? So
well then, I say he wants Joshua. He wants that Joshua fight.
Right. I'm calling an eighth round knockout by uppercut, possibly followed by a hook if that uppercut doesn't solidly get him. So I'm saying that a 4-3 gonna end this fight.
All right, so just to give the Tyson Fury is a negative 2,500 favorite, so he's a 25-1 favorite, meaning that you would have to bet $2,500 to get back $100 on Tyson Fury, and Derek Chisora is a 10-1 underdog, plus 1,000, meaning that $100 bet will get you back $1,000 if he is able to pull off the upset. Let's go with you, the Boston Jared, I should say.
Hey, let me drop it to 7th round. I'm sorry. Let me go from 8th to 7th round.
7th round. What was the combo again?
Up hook, uppercut, setting it up. I think all about that hook, man.
All right. So go ahead, Boston.
Yeah, this fight ends badly for Derek Chisora. Yeah, Dave stole my combo. I'm gonna go with just a straight uppercut. The same way that he did Dillian White, the same way he's gonna do Chisora. Uppercut in the 6th round flattens him in an utterly uncompetitive and uninteresting fight. And I hope that the British Board of Boxing Control comes under fire after the end of this fight. I hope that Chisora is okay and he has all his faculties at the end. He just don't have enough in the tank to make this fight even interesting. And I believe that there is something more to what you were saying, Cam, about Chisora not even being ranked. Why is this fight even being sanctioned?
Chisora is ranked. Chisora is top 13. I think he's 13.
Right, but not in the top 10.
Top 10.
Well, why are you as a champion? And like Cam said, why are you as a champion? Yeah,
I mean, it's two UK fighters. So,
but what has Derek Chisora? And look, I don't know all what the BBBFC's criteria is for not sanctioning fights versus fights that do get sanctioned. I don't think that this fight is in any way, shape, or form competitive. The same way, and just to go back to our show last week, the same way, after watching Anthony Yard beat that poor Eastern European kid around for 90 seconds, how does that fight even get sanctioned against a guy like Anthony Yard? You know, it's totally uncompetitive, uninteresting, and I believe this fight goes similarly. I think Fury maybe carries Chisora for the 3, 4, 5 rounds, gets him out of there in 6 with one punch, maybe even sooner. Fury in 6, uppercut.
All right, the casual one.
I'm going with 5.
Price is right.
I'm going with 5. The same uppercut. And then I was trying to prove a point. But I pulled up his damn his resume on BoxRec, and I was like,
and then you saw that shit.
You saw all that red. You saw that.
I saw all that red, and I was like, I can't say it. But you know what I'm saying. But my point, what I was going to say, is the professor didn't fight back this hard when he heard that fucking Bud was fighting Avanesian out the blue.
I mean, Avanesian doesn't have.
Yo, Avanesian's a top 3 guy. Avanesian's top 3.
No, he ain't. Don't come on. Don't make him better. Don't.
Where's Avanesian ranked?
5, like 5 or 6.
Okay, well,
top 5 guy.
He's ranked higher than motherfucking Derek Chisora.
He said top 3.
He's 5 or 6. So it's still a fight that nobody's asked for.
And what's Avanesian's record compared to Derek Chisora, man? Don't do this to yourself, man. I know you the casual. I know you the casual.
But that doesn't excuse the fact that it's a fight that nobody asked for.
It's a lot more competitive than Chisora Fury. So why are we even bringing this up?
Nobody asked for. At least Chisora Fury is a fucking. It's a UK fight. It's a UK fight. So you see that and you be like, all right, I see what's happening. But you see Bud Crawford and Ebenezer and be like, how did that come about?
That's because you've never seen David Ebenezer fight. I've seen David Ebenezer fight, and it's going to be a lot more competitive than Chisora.
I mean, it's going to be more competitive than Chisora Fury. Okay,
so what are we talking about? Then? Why are you?
I'm saying, is it competitive enough to be like, okay, Bud should have fought? Bud should fight that guy right there. That he's done enough to fight the pound for pound best fighter in the world. The so-called.
Well, who else? It's like who else is he going to fight?
Boots
didn't call us mandatory. 1, 2, Virgil and Virgil.
What was the mandatory? What you mean?
You said what?
Hold on. You making arguments that Terrence Crawford didn't even make. Let's keep.
What does that got to do with me making an argument?
You're saying things that's different than what Crawford said. Crawford didn't make the excuses that you about to make right now.
Well, what did Crawford say? Why did Crawford say he's not fighting?
Let's keep it going, man. Let's keep it going. I don't want to make this conversation, man. Let's keep it right.
All right, yeah. Because I'm ready for you tonight.
You
ain't not that bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that comparing David Ebenezer
nothing to fucking do with anything. The
comparison I made was that those are two fights from champions that nobody asked for. That's what I'm saying.
Fury, I tell you what, I'll say this. Fury had a lot more options at heavyweight than Bud had at welterweight. If we look at this list here.
So I'm looking at the welterweight. So there's Ortiz.
Because if I'm not mistaken, what's my man, the Juggernaut? What's his name? That's Joe Joyce?
Joe Joyce.
Isn't he a Queensberry fighter?
Yeah.
Isn't he managed by Frank Warren?
I think that he's
Where is he
doesn't Frank Warren have a relationship with Bob Arum? Isn't Tyson Fury co-managed by both Frank Warren and Bob Arum? So why aren't we getting that fight?
Is Joe Joyce even ranked in the top 15?
Joe Joyce? Come on, man. It's Joe. So I'm going right now just because I'm at the WBO. He's the interim champion.
Tyson Fury is the WBC. So don't give me some shit from IBF.
Well, I was just saying I was at
WBC and tell me what Joe Joyce is.
I was at WBO.
It's a voluntary, Randy. He can fight whoever he wants.
WBC and tell me where Joe Joyce is.
Randy, it's a voluntary. It doesn't matter. He can fight whoever he wants. It's a voluntary.
Exactly. So according to the WBC,
why not fight Joe Joyce?
According to the WBC, Chisora is higher than Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce ain't
Randy.
Top 15.
It's a voluntary. He already fulfilled his WBC mandatory requirements. So technically, all I'm saying is, he could have fought Joe Joyce. That's the Juggernaut, right?
You making me fight two different arguments. I understand what you're saying, but then a fucking professor be like, he ain't in the top 10. Joe Joyce ain't in the top 15. Chisora is 13, at least in the WBC. So I can't fight both of y'all at the same time. So
okay, well I'll let you fight Cam.
All right,
both of y'all come together and I come at you.
All right, so your argument, even though Joe Joyce is the number 3, right? I mean, fighter when it comes to the ring, behind
I don't. Where is Joe Joyce at in any of them?
What's that again?
Pull up box track. I mean, boxing scene.
I got a boxing scene. No, he's not. I believe he's ranked in the ring. I believe is the only one.
We're in the top 15 in all 4. So you telling me in all 4 sanctioning bodies, he's nowhere to be found?
No, that's not true. One, he's the WBO, the interim heavyweight champion, he's number 3 when it comes to the ring heavyweight champions in there. And then for some reason, I'm not sure, but maybe there's something. But they dropped him out of the rankings. They said drop out this month. They don't give any reason why. But if you're gonna die on that sword, that Derek Chisora is a more formidable opponent Then
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
There's nothing to argue
I'm going by what the
what I said was that you had somebody who was not in the top 10 in any sanctioning body. That's what I said. If you go and look at my argument, that's what I said.
Okay, but we
does not have that issue.
But when you talking Fury, you talking one specific sanctioning body because he is only the WBC champion. You can't talk WBA, WBO, IBF.
Yes, you can. Because he is considered is he not considered the lineal heavyweight champion?
He is the WBC champ.
Right, but that doesn't have to do it. This is a voluntary. That's got nothing to do with anything. You don't have to fight somebody in the WBC unless there's some rule that I'm not aware of. You could be right, but I never heard of that.
My point was he's fighting somebody who would, and you pull up all of the sanctioning bodies. I don't care what it is, but it is a testament to what they have been doing lately and what their body of work speaks to. But let's go. So we have I guess we're going in order. We got 7-round knockout Coach, 6th-round knockout Boston, 5th-round knockout the casual one. You took my you took the one that I was going, because I don't really see him lasting. I think that he'll get softened up after 4 rounds, and with his, and I think everybody knows with Derek's crouching style that he is just really primed for uppercuts or anything that's coming from up under in there. And like I say, I think he's definitely at the end of his rope, and I'm gonna just go one earlier. I'm gonna just keep it going. So I'm gonna go 4th round knockout. I'm gonna go 4th round knockout. So I'm gonna say that he's gonna get softened up, and then at this time he's gonna get taken out by your boy Tyson Fury. And I think it's really just the kind of politics around this, and I just think that there was a lot of different fighters that he could have fought. I think Coach gives the kind of best assertion that, like, he understands that boxing is a dangerous sport, and heavyweight. The reason why Muhammad Ali always fought killers every time in the ring, because he said, listen, as a heavyweight, it could just take one bad night and then you could see yourself lose. So like, why don't I just risk it all against somebody who's good? So when it comes to preservation, I think that he is looking at the road of least resistance, because he does want to solidify his legacy. And so I mean, with that argument, I could feel a little bit better about Tyson taking on this fight.
Also, a quick note here. The reason why Joe Joyce was probably dropped out of those rankings is because technically he is a title holder, right? He's got the Reggie belt, and title holders cannot be ranked within other sanctioning bodies. So
I think, was it the WBO or the WBC that said that it was going to try to change that? So
that was the WBA that was going to try to get rid of that Reggie belt.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that. Whatnot. We like we say, we like to educate.
Because Joe Joyce was definitely ranked in like 3 or 4 of those sanctioning bodies before he crushed whoever that. What was Joseph Parker coming off of that Joseph Parker stoppage, right?
Parker, yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'm there for a Joe Joyce Tyson Fury fight. I'm clearing my schedule for that. I'll watch that shit. That's a good ass fight.
I'll watch him against
Joe Joyce.
I'll watch him.
But
I'll watch him against
as I mentioned, I don't think that ever happens. I think Tyson Fury holding his next 3 fights and going into the sunset. The 3 fights, like Usyk is unification. Wilder,
that's undisputed.
Undisputed. Fury is just.
You mean Joshua?
That's a legacy fight, and then if he can retire Wilder for a 4th time, man, and then if you talking about a Parker fight, Parker compared to those 3 fights I just mentioned, man, he gonna be like, man, go on ahead. I'll retire before I fight him.
All right. with that, we will end on that note. I think this was
we're not gonna fight.
We're
not gonna talk Zach Parker and fucking John Ryder.
I don't think I don't know if that
Ooh.
deserves any of our time or whatnot. I was thoroughly disappointed, but we can give them
quick shout out to some bullshit.
Quick shout out to Google Images and timestamps too, so that fans can help quickly verify BS. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see Joseph?
But you had me believing in Parker. He's like, Parker's a good fighter. He's like,
I did, and I feel bad. I feel bad for
you know what I'm saying. I don't.
You're absolutely right. You got me.
I don't care about the fight. I'm caring about the ramifications. Now, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna be set to be the one to fight Canelo, and now we're gonna have to run.
He's talking about it.
But that was always going to be the case, though.
Yeah, but then listen, like that's why I say everybody, plays the fool, and that's going to be us, because look how Canelo is setting this up. What's he saying? I want the Bivol fight. I really want the Bivol fight. I want the Bivol fight. So you put that narrative out there, knowing you're not going to make that fight. You're going to say something happened. We gave him an offer. They couldn't come do it, and then you're going to go over there and beat up on John Ryder.
Well, to be fair here, you said what?
John Ryder's gonna be Cinco de Mayo,
right? And to be fair to Canelo, he is coming off of a wrist injury, right? It's wrist surgery, right? He had a surgical procedure done.
Keep that Bivol talk to yourself, then.
Nah, fair enough. But he could be set the same way that Tank is sitting here talking about a Ryan Garcia fight and a Devin Haney fight that's years away. We got to keep that same energy for Canelo also. He's got injured legitimately, right? Got it fixed. He's going to fight a tune-up fight and then, according to him, fight Bivol after. I'll believe it when I see it, but if we're going to criticize Canelo for that, we also got to criticize Tank for calling out guys for fights 2 years in advance or whatever.
Oh, man, I'm down to do that. With that said,
hold on before you go there. That's one of
wait, come on, let Dave talk, man.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey, look, just a reminder too, man. So this weekend, man, y'all check out that Roman Gonzalez and Juan Estrada fight, man.
Yeah, that's another trilogy also.
Dazzing, and right now, them jokers are 1-1, and definitely go back and check that trilogy out, man. You know what I'm saying? Estrada lost in 2012 and got a controversial split decision, I think, in like 2018. And then now here it is. They're getting ready to do it again for that tiebreaker. And I'll put my money on Estrada, man.
Really? You got Estrada?
Okay. All right.
And then last thing I want to say, man, the sanctioning bodies need to have a hierarchy because as
there is.
No, it ain't.
What do you mean a hierarchy? Sorry, go ahead, finish. I
shouldn't cut you off. If a mandatory in the WBC should be higher in line than a mandatory in the WBO. Like a hierarchy.
No, that wouldn't be fair.
I say that because you know what I'm saying. Like how long if you the WBC champion, you could go 2-3 years before you defend that. Like so the WBC had the conclave a couple of months ago, and then they said that the winner
the convention.
What?
My man said conclave.
Well, whatever. The convention. The convention conclave. And what came out of that was the Benavidez plant. The winner of the Benavidez plant will have a mandatory against Canelo. And then they're saying that the Parker Ryder, the winner, was going to get the mandatory. And everybody
that was the WBO though. That was WBO.
But everybody know that Canelo's going to go to the WBO to defend the WBO belt before they go to the WBC. That's what I'm saying. There should be a hierarchy. You'd be like, no, the WBC said that the next fight that their champion will have to be their fight versus
it's supposed to be chronologically is how it's supposed to go. And I believe, like if you look with the situation with Errol Spence, he won. He has not defended his IBF belt in X amount of years, I think. So the IBF is supposed to get called. Now, in a situation like with Devin Haney, when you win all 4 belts at the same time, maybe some kind of hierarchy. I'm not sure how that would work in a situation like Devin Haney, but usually fighters win belts 1 at a time, 2 at a time. So it's a lot easier. You can go chronologically. But everyone knows the WBC reigns supreme. I mean, there is a hierarchy, just not officially.
But then you got the step aside too. So if you pay a step aside, if you agree to that step aside, you should be going to the bottom. So that's what I think with the Staniosis situation was.
Well, it's not that you go to the bottom, but you lose your ability to call that mandatory, which is also what happened with Stanionis. But Stanionis stepped aside once for the Ulgas Pacquiao fight. Anyhow, I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. We'll say that shit for another. That's for another show.
All right, this is your man, Professor Nim, signing off for Coach Dave. The Casual Rand. And Boston Jared.
Peace.
Thank y'all for popping in for another popping episode.
Like and subscribe. Don't just watch and not push the like button, man. Y'all niggas
and comment too. Don't be scared. If you got something to say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest.
Right.
Say it with your chest.
That's right. I will respond too.
If I feel like I'm gonna respond to your ass.